Hello everyone. My name is Steven and I welcome you to the presentation of my capstone project called the Capstone Learning Community. The Capstone Learning Community is a social learning tool designed and hosted on the Canvas shell. Its primary objective is to create a peer support group for students to enhance their learning experience. The Capstone Learning Community allows users to personalize their learning by following a tailored learning path that aligns with their interests, by focusing on developing a capstone, exploring specific concepts, and utilizing technological tools. The core of this artifact is to engage students in online discussions related to capstone projects, which will effectively prepare students ahead of the capstone courses. The target audience for the Capstone Learning Community is the Educational Technology and Learning Design (ETLD) Master's students enrolled on SFU's Faculty of Education program. In order to gain access to this community, students can self-enroll using their SFU's login credentials by using this code or put in a request to be enrolled by the developer or the program coordinator who has full access. Before arriving at the problem of learning, I reviewed two main concepts related to the topic. These include why and how educators use exemplars. The reason for reviewing literature on exemplars is because they served as main domain for designing this artifact. Communities of practice. I adapted the framework by Wenger, 1999, for designing communities of practice and hence reviewed literature on the role of social resources in shaping individuals' learning trajectories and professional identities within COPs. Based it on my personal reflection on the ETLD Master's program which already existed on the Canvas shell, particularly, the resources on the Master of Education capstone, which includes sample work from previous students. From my perspective, the ETLD Master program course on the Canvas shell had very good and useful information. However, the course lacked student engagement in activities such as discussion forum about the capstone. In order to seek other cohorts' opinion apart from my point of view about the ETLD Master's program on the Canvas shell, I collected data from ETLD students enrolled in both first and second year by using the SurveyMonkey tool. Before performing the needs analysis, I used the SurveyMonkey tool to collect data. The data generated by respondents enabled me to perform the needs analysis. For instance, one of the items of the survey sought to find out what they thought would be helpful in preparing for the capstone. The respondents revealed that they needed clear understanding of the expectation for the capstone, opportunity to discuss capstone in class, preparation and planning ahead, mentorship and guidance by talking to the program coordinator, access to resources, orientation program to the capstone and exemplars of the capstone. In addressing the problem of learning, the Capstone Learning Community was designed with the objective to provide students with more clarity of the capstone expectation, offer students the opportunity to discuss capstone with peers and support one another, enable students plan and prepare for the capstone, foster mentorship and guidance, gain access to resources, orientation programs, and exemplars pertaining to the capstone. Design process. In my design process, I used the two-phased successive approximation model popularly referred to as the SAM developed by Allen and Seitz to guide the design and development. I used the SAM because it's an agile model. It emphasizes collaboration, flexibility, and continuous improvement throughout the development process. For instance, I embraced the iterative nature of my design that involved multiple rounds of feedback from my supervisor and peers and the refinement of design and development. SAM consists of three main phases: the preparation phase, the iterative design phase, and the finalization phase. This is how I applied the phases. In the preparation phase, I conducted a thorough needs analysis by gathering data through surveys and got feedback from students using the SurveyMonkey tool. This step helped identify the gaps in the existing support materials to determine the specific knowledge areas that needed improvement. In the iterative design phase, I designed a prototype to be evaluated by prospective users. Throughout the design process of the prototype, I sought regular feedback from ETLD students and my supervisor who is the subject matter expert. This feedback loop enabled me to gather valuable insights and make timely adjustments to the artifact design, aligning it more closely with the needs and expectations of the learners. In the final iterative development phase, The finished prototype of the Capstone Learning Community was refined based on the feedback received and validated through testing by some ETLD students and my supervisor. As stated earlier in the literature section, I utilized the fundamental building blocks of the community of practice to design this artifact. 1. Domain, which focused on the subject matter and content relevant to the capstone projects. 2. People/community, creating a community, CLC, where students can interact and support each other. 3. Practice, encouraging students to engage in practical activities related to their capstone projects. It is important to note that although the Capstone Learning Community incorporates these building blocks, it cannot be referred to as a fully developed community of practice, since the ETLD students have not gained sufficient experience in the practice of developing capstone projects. The assessment plan was done based on how I categorized the problem of learning. I categorized the learning needs into two. Firstly, I designed a content to teach learners about the components of the artifact, rationale paper document and the final video presentation. The learning outcome was for students to understand the various components, therefore giving more clarity of the capstone expectation. Students can assess themselves by measuring their understanding of the clarity of expectation of the capstone by answering practice quiz questions. Secondly, in addressing the second categorization of the problem of learning, which include opportunity to discuss capstone, advanced preparation and planning, mentorship and guidance, and finally, accessing resources, orientation programs, and exemplars. I designed a discussion activity with the objective of learners to analyze, evaluate, and develop the various components of capstone. In assessing the overall objective of the artifact, students will voluntarily fill out a survey which was based on the initial survey sent out for data collection for students to share their perception of the ETLD Master's program that already existed, as compared to what the Capstone Learning Community offered. I also solicited students' feedback on areas within the Capstone Learning Community that needed improvement or modification. Short demonstration of artifact.